So you're a business leader, and AI is everywhere. The good news? You don't need to become a tech wizard. What you do need is a way to make smart, safe decisions. And that's exactly what this playbook is for. We're going to cut through the jargon and give you a simple framework to lead with real confidence. All right, so here's what we've got lined up. First, we'll talk about your specific role in all this. Then, we'll get super practical with 4 questions you absolutely have to ask before saying yes to anything. After that, we'll cover how to pick the right projects to start with. I'll give you 10 killer questions to hold your team accountable. And we'll wrap up by looking at how all this government stuff can actually be your secret weapon. Okay, first things first, your role. And let me just say this right off the bat, your job is not to suddenly become a data scientist. No way. It's about leadership. It's about making smart calls based on good information. And this quote really nails it, doesn't it? AI adoption isn't driven by some cool new tech. It's driven by real business problems. And what does that mean? It means you, the business leader, are the one steering the ship. The accountability for how it all turns out, well, that rests with you. So what does that actually look like day to day? Well, it really boils down to this. You're the one giving the green light to AI projects, sure, but you're also the one who sets the bar for safety and ethics. You're making sure your teams are following the process. And honestly, your most powerful tool? It's just asking the right questions and making sure you get real evidence before you make that final call. Which brings us perfectly to your first and maybe most important checkpoint. Think of this as your first line of defense. Before you even think about saying yes to an AI project, you've got to have solid answers to these 4 questions. And they're pretty straightforward, really. Number 1, what problem are we actually trying to solve here? This is huge for avoiding that shiny object syndrome. Number 2, why do we need AI for this? Seriously, could a simple spreadsheet do the job? Be honest. 3, what does success even look like? And I mean in real business terms, not tech jargon. And finally, number 4, what could go wrong? What are the risks we need to manage? Nailing these down from the get-go saves a ton of headaches and wasted money later on. All right, so let's say a project passes that first test. Now what? Well, you can't do everything at once, right? So you have to prioritize. And being really strategic about which projects you tackle first is absolutely key. It's all about getting some early wins and building momentum without taking on a crazy amount of risk. Think of this as your prioritization cheat sheet. On one side, you've got the stuff you should be prioritizing. We're talking high value, low to medium risk. The projects that have good, clean data behind them and, actually line up with your company's strategy. On the other side, these are the ones to avoid, at least for now. Anything with a fuzzy outcome, the super high-risk moonshots, or projects that rely on messy data. Get the foundation right first. Okay, this next part is maybe the most powerful tool I can give you. A team walks in, they're excited, they have a big AI proposal. How do you know if they've actually thought it all through? Simple. You pull out this accountability checklist. It's just 10 critical questions for you to ask. And here's the beauty of it. These 10 questions are so simple, but they are incredibly powerful. It's how you as a leader can govern AI without having to write a single line of code. This is your go-to checklist to see if a project is truly ready to go. And if you look closely, you'll see there's a real logic to them. The first few are all about strategy, the what and the why. Then they shift into execution. We're talking data, risks, and how to handle them. And they wrap up with accountability, like who's on the hook for this, how are we going to watch it, and what's our plan B if it all goes sideways. If your team can give you clear, evidence-backed answers to these, you can be pretty confident you're on solid ground. All right, all of this brings us to a really crucial shift in how we think about this stuff. A lot of leaders, and maybe you felt this way too, see governance and just think, ugh, red tape, a compliance headache. But the smartest companies out there, they're flipping that script. They're turning governance into a massive competitive advantage. So there's this myth that governance is just a brake pedal, right? That it's all about slowing things down. But the reality, it's not a brake, it's a guardrail. When your teams have clear rules of the road, they don't have to waste time guessing. They know what's safe, they know what's approved, they know what's expected, and that clarity, it removes all the uncertainty and lets them move faster, not slower. And here's the real bottom line. In this new age of AI, good governance is what builds trust. And let's be clear, trust isn't some fuzzy feel-good metric. It's a hard asset. It's the thing that drives real growth, creates customer loyalty, and makes your business more resilient. And when you get this right, the benefits just start stacking up. You innovate faster and safer because your teams aren't flying blind. You build that crucial trust with your customers. You lower your legal exposure and the risk of a PR nightmare. And you create a culture where the best people actually want to work. So, I'll just leave you with this one final thought to chew on. Right now, in your organization, is AI governance just a cost? A checkbox you have to tick? Or are you ready to see it for what it really is? Your greatest strategic asset for leading confidently and safely into the future?